Okay, in this video I'm going to do an example problem like one of the problems in the homework, very similar. And in this problem we have an analog signal coming from a microphone, and we wish to record the sound level every 15 seconds. And then we're going to send 1 hour's worth of data from the sensor to a central server in a quick burst using Wi-Fi. Okay, so the first question here is how many readings will be collected in 1 hour? Well, if we're collecting once every 15 seconds, we're going to get 4 per minute, and then 4 times 60 minutes per hour is 240. We can almost do this one in our head to start with. And so we can do that. We can say, look, 4 samples per minute times 60 minutes per hour is equal to 240 samples per hour. Okay? And we get the 4 samples per minute from the 15 seconds. How do we use the 15 seconds directly to get this result? So we did this one kind of in our head. To use the 15 seconds directly, I want to know what are the units on the 15 seconds. And that's 15 seconds per sample. Seconds per sample is a sampling period. TS is 15 seconds per sample. Okay? And so if we want a sample rate, this is a sample rate. This 240 samples per hour is a sample rate. And so a sample rate is 1 over the sample period. And so it's 1/15 of a sample per second. How do I get the 240 from that? Well, what I'm going to do then is convert seconds into hours by saying 60 seconds is 1 minute, and 60 minutes is 1 hour. And you can see here that our 4 times 60 comes out again because 60 divided by 15 is 4. So 4 times 60 yields the same result in the units of samples per hour. Okay, so we can get that answer either of 2 ways. And I actually prefer the second way because I think it's less prone to errors if you're being very careful here. It says now that in part B, we don't need great accuracy in our sound level reading, so we only use 2-bit sampling. How many different sound levels can we sense? Well, as one of our sort of standard equations, we're going to say M is 2 bits per sample. Okay, and therefore L, which is the number of levels, is 2 to the M, or 2 squared, or 4 different sound levels. So this is recording, say 0 sound, soft, medium soft, and loud, maybe would be the 4 levels. Okay, so those are the 4 levels we can sense. Oh no. See if I can get this to stick to the page. There we go. And what is the rate at which we collect data from this microphone? Okay, now we're going to use the equation that the bit rate is equal to the number of bits per sample times the sample rate. So I'll put the units under this. Bits per second is equal to bits per sample times samples per second. I think I have these numbers up here, don't I? Do I have M? Yeah, I got M. Do I have RS? Yeah, I do. I have 240 samples per hour. So let's go ahead and do this. You know what though? Normally we write this equation as bits per second and samples per second. But I don't have samples per second, I have samples per hour. Oh, you know what I do up here? 1/15 of a sample per second, right? Yeah. I have 15 seconds per sample, therefore I have 1/15 of a sample per second. And I'm going to go ahead and use that value then. I'm going to say that the bit rate is 2 times 1/15, which is 2/15 of a bit seconds. What did I just do? Okay, I don't know what I just did. It just disappeared. So the number of bits, let's try that again, is equal to the bit rate times the time. And this is bits, and it's equal to bits per second times seconds. Okay, and I have a bit rate of 2/15 of bits per second. And I have a time of 1 hour, which is 60 times 60 seconds, right? This is bits per second. Let me just go ahead and put units on all these values here. See if I can undo a few steps here. I'm going to bits per second times 60 seconds per minute times 60 minutes per hour. And that's equal to, let's see, 3,600 times 2. I don't know exactly what it's equal to here. I'll use a calculator to calculate that. 2 times 60 equals, divided by 15 equals 480 bits. Hey, just a second. This is the value we had here. No, this is 480 bits. Okay. How long will it take to transmit 1 hour's worth of data? Well, we have a fixed number of bits, and now we're going to send it with a much higher data rate. So I'm going to solve for time here, which is the number of bits divided by the data rate, which is 480 bits, divided by 1 megabit per second. I don't need a calculator for this one. It's 480 times 10 to the minus 6 seconds, or 480 microseconds, or 0.48 milliseconds. Okay, so at this very high data rate, it takes a very short amount of time to send this data. Okay, and let's look at the answer to part D. It says 480 bits are collected in an hour. But back at part A, it asks how many readings are collected now. So there are 240 samples per hour, but 480 bits per hour. And that makes sense because there are 2 bits per sample. Okay? Well, I hope this helps you do that homework problem. Thanks for listening.